Hey everyone, Kyle here. Thanks for listening to the Third Rule Podcast. I just wanted to come on quickly before this third episode and give a quick little preface. Unfortunately, there was a technical glitch, technical difficulties on this episode. So unfortunately, the sound of the episode does not sound like this, which really, really bothers me because I'm a perfectionist. So I'm sorry. I apologize to Dylan, our guest, or my guest, who is fantastic. I'm really sorry that the sound doesn't sound as good as it should. That's on me. I'm not going to get into what it is or what happened. It doesn't matter, but I dropped the ball, so that one's on me. But you can be assured it's never going to happen again. I guess that's what happens when a rookie starts doing a podcast. So again, I'm sorry. Please, I hope you listen anyway. I hope you enjoy it. The whole episode is there. It just doesn't sound like how it should. So please bear with me, and I really hope you stick around and listen to this episode. Okay, so on with the show. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey man, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
Especially since you're able to find the house and navigate through the maze of construction that is thanks to the whole street being ripped up.
It's kind of insane out there, yeah. It's a bit of a maze.
Oh, it's better than the corner snow maze, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So Dylan Paradis, wedding videographer extraordinaire, at Fade to White Films on Instagram.
Wow.
And fadetowhitefilms.com.
Correct.
Both ways are correct.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
So
that is a nice intro, by the way.
Oh,
thank you.
I try.
You made me sound really professional there. Extraordinaire.
You are professional. I think you're professional.
Thanks.
You did my sister's wedding. I think you're professional. I've seen the video.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Man, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I especially loved the 5-minute teaser. Sorry, what do you call it?
Well, it's like that's the actual that's the wedding film. That's what I would kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I watched the actual wedding film too.
Yeah,
I watched the whole thing, but I also watched the clip that you have.
Also, I would say the 5-minute clip, I would call that the wedding film, whereas the other ones I would just call like multi-camera edits, because you probably saw the ceremony,
yes,
and whatever else. Those are just kind of those edits, but yeah, for sure.
So people right now are probably saying, yeah, well, of course he's saying he's so good. He did your sister's wedding. Well, he actually is very good. If you have any doubts, go to the website that I said, fadetowhitefilms.com, if I can learn to speak and not trip over my own spit.
Yeah.
Here.
Thanks, man.
Fadetowhitefilms.com. Dylan Paradis, local Winnipeg wedding videographer. How long have you been doing this?
Just like 2 years. So I did in October, I think 2017. I randomly, I've always kind of loved movies, and I've loved film in general. And so this is kind of like this, I don't know, it's been this way of kind of having a little piece of that in a job. And it's the coolest thing, because it's I can try out all these things that I've seen in movies, with the way the camera moves, how things are filmed, and it allows me to do that. But I started, October 2017. I just kind of volunteered out of nowhere to do a friend's wedding for free, which is, I think, how it usually starts.
That's kind of how, that's how I started too.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay, so you shot your first wedding. You've done video, you said, on weddings before, right?
I've done video. I've actually never shot a wedding for photography, but I've done a number of them for video.
Okay, right.
And the first one was, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I'm pretty sure that was the first one they asked me the day before the wedding.
Wow. I don't know if I would have done it. Yeah, that's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, so I did it. I mean, it's not Fade to White Films quality, but it got the job done.
Yeah, that's such a nice plug, yeah. That's awesome, yeah. Cool, yeah, so I actually did two in my first month there, and just kind of, I don't know, I decided. And it's funny, because my first couple, it's when people talk, I still have them on my YouTube, which is kind of, I think, a controversial choice to showcase your very first works ever. But when people talk to me, they're like, "Oh, I've seen your first couple weddings you did, and you're really different now." And it's yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of good though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know a lot of people, because I was talking with this on the first episode with Dennis Burnett,
right,
about on Instagram and things like that about, is it cheating to get rid of your early work, or should, if you're quote unquote, air quotes here, a serious creative,
right.
should you get rid of the garbage and just have your good new stuff? So, I mean, you're clearly in the camp, it seems, where keep the old stuff, let someone see your journey.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say, I wouldn't want to hide behind something that I've put out first, because I think it kind of shows a couple things. It shows that you're growing,
yeah,
and you're getting better. Hopefully, if they're able to see the first one, hopefully that doesn't scare them off and they stop there.
That's
Maybe
true.
They'll keep on watching, and then they'll see kind of a progression, right? So,
but usually someone's not going to dig back to early stuff if there's more current things.
No, especially when like my first video was like 18 minutes long. And most people, if they're watching somebody else's wedding film, they don't have the patience for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of why it's nice to have those 5-minute teasers, which I've actually never done for any of the. I mean, I've never been. Have I ever been paid? I don't think I've actually ever been paid. I've only done weddings. The first one was for free because it was a friend, and then the other ones were always just people I knew that were friends.
Yeah.
And they just asked me to do it, so I did it as a wedding gift.
Was that to kind of remove accountability from yourself a little bit, to make it a little easier?
Well, one of them was because I had no money for a wedding gift. So I said...
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so I said,
awesome.
I'll do your wedding film. And then when other people heard that, they said, man, that's quite a wedding gift. That's like $1,000 value.
Yeah.
So, man, what a wedding gift. And I said, no, I guess so. But it was still... I guess my time was cheaper than me going to buy a gift or giving cash because I had no money at the time. I still kind of have no money.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, so anyway, I did that one for free as a gift, and I think I did one or two others as a gift. But the first one I did because it was also just a friend, and I had experience with cameras and stuff, and I kind of always wanted to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I just said, heck yeah, like this is an opportunity, I'll do it.
That's so interesting to me. So
and I'm really proud of that first one still. Like it wasn't garbage.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I would be interested.
So I'm not trying to like look at my work, but I'm really happy with it.
That's awesome. I find that really interesting though. So you're actively like kind of into videography for weddings a little bit, but you like find it difficult to do photography, which is like your game. Totally.
Are you saying why I've never done photography for a wedding? I've never done photography for a wedding. I've been asked a number of times. I've always said no. Mm-hmm. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that it was a couple of different reasons. I like how you're interviewing me on my own podcast.
I don't know.
Supposed to be interviewing, but no, it's okay. Yeah. I don't trust the gear I have.
Oh, okay.
For one, like weddings are I find for videoing weddings, it's a lot less stressful than shooting it, taking pictures, because the camera's always rolling, and usually you have 2 or 3 cameras. They're always rolling, and if they stop, it's for a couple seconds if the thing overheats, and you just got to press the button again. Right. At least with the crappy Canon DSLRs. I don't know if the Sonys probably don't have that problem, but will they stop every once in a while just randomly?
No.
Okay,
no, they won't do that.
The Canons will.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, the Canons will, because they're not camcorders. They're SLR or DSLR, so they're not meant to run longer than 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
So if you run them for long periods of time, generally during the ceremony, the ceremony's 20 to 30 minutes, they'll usually stop once or twice.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so that like it'll just all of a sudden abruptly stop, and it'll say recording has been interrupted. Right. So you'll have to press the button. But again, sometimes if it's gotten a little bit too hot, it won't start recording when you're pressing the button. It'll be like, no, I'm taking a break. Too bad. And so you're panicking, and you're hoping that the other cameras aren't also quitting at this exact same moment. Right. So at least you can switch between the 2 cameras.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They're very temperamental, very moody.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're going to get into this and you are thinking about cameras, I don't really recommend going with Canon DSLRs if you're going to do just straight video for long periods of time.
Yeah. Well, my experience, and actually it's kind of funny you mentioned, because the A7 IIIs, the ones I'm using right now, they actually still have that 29-minute time limit on them. Okay. Yeah, they've eliminated that since, because they came out with I think they just came out with the A6400, which is like their crop sensor version of that camera. And there's no time limit on that one, but that's like a way cheaper camera. So I don't understand really how they wouldn't have done that on their A series. So if it's
it must be like Canon or something where they don't want it to be distinguished as a camcorder for long periods of time. They probably want you to buy a higher end camcorder of theirs. They're
very into the photography aspect of like their brand.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the reason why. So I never have shot a wedding photography wise because I find I don't trust the gear I have because it doesn't have the autofocus. Like I have a 6D full frame. My other camera is an older crop, so I would have to rent a second body to shoot, which is fine. I have no problem renting a brand new 5D 4
Right.
or Sony, which is what I would do if I don't actually own one. But I still don't trust my second camera, even though I know it would be able to be fine. I'm super hardcore on myself, and I just don't trust it. Versus video, the cameras are always rolling. I'm not going to miss, since I'm a noob when it comes to photography at weddings. I'd be scared that I would miss something, and then the bride will just bridezilla all over me. And how could you miss that? Or so I just have that fear, even though I'm sure I'd be fine.
Oh, it's terrifying. Yeah. No,
but for video, I don't have that fear.
No?
No.
Okay. I still have that fear.
Okay.
I have a very real fear that someday I'm going to accidentally like drop kick the bride or something, and then it's still like there's so many potential things that could go wrong on a wedding day.
Yeah.
And so even now, it's still very nerve wracking. You just kind of got to do your best to, I don't know, do your best not let that happen. But
yeah, and I just watched your videos because like I was even learning composition from wedding stuff from you, because like
really?
Even just when you were on the front street outside of the two houses getting stuff through the nice not rose bushes, lilac trees and cherry trees with the blossoms and stuff. Like I would have never thought about doing stuff like that.
Ooh man, foreground is like killer when it comes to making something ordinary look, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, it makes it look way better all the time. So whenever I can, I try to add a little foreground to most of my shots.
Yeah.
So,
and I've done that for framing for certain photos, but I've never really thought, like I would never have thought to do that for a video or something like outside of a house for a wedding video. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, no, I don't know, it's interesting. Even if I'm inside, I like to, over the shoulder, I don't know, it just gives, I think it's like subconsciously it gives perspective.
Yeah, it's telling a story.
Yeah, something like that. Whereas anybody can just kind of pick up their camera and point it at something, but if there's no, I don't know, perspective that they have subconsciously, it's just not going to register as cinematic, I would say. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
But not even just, because it's easy to make something cinematic when you're, say, inside the house, or you're inside, say, where you were the legislature, and you're shooting and you're panning and you're bringing people in and out of frame, and you're doing that. Like, that's one thing. But just to be outside looking at a static shot of a building or a house and then just coming up with certain things like that, I think it's a good idea. Oh,
it's the hardest thing in the world to figure out how to shoot something that you've shot 100 times and still try to make a new shot out of it. And it's something I'm working on with every wedding, because it's like, I need to show that you need to always establish kind of where you are so that the viewer subconsciously knows where they are. Mm-hmm. But it's like, how do you do that in a way where it's not just like I'm panning up or I'm just showing the building? It's like, how do you find a new way to show that? Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm experimenting with it. I'm trying new things. So.
And the other thing that was cool that some of the people that I was watching the video with remarked that they liked was that when you faced the one house, and just for everyone who's listening for reference, the two houses are down the street from each other by either maybe 6 houses apart, one on the opposite side of the street from the other. So you shot the one, and then you turned and then walked up the sidewalk and kept that in the film.
Oh, yeah.
And sped it up and then walked up the sidewalk to the other house. That's something else I would have never thought to do that. If someone would have told me to do that, I would have said, no, that'll look stupid. No offense. But then when I saw the video, it works. Oh. Like, it looks good.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's part of this job that I like so much. Is like when you can think of like a shot that is like cool or that you wouldn't have done before. Like in movies, I am such a sucker if there's like a one take shot, like if it's just like all in one, there's no cuts.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, these houses are close together. If I just flip it around and just walk, I'll be able to like establish his shot within the same shot that I just established her house. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I was going with that. But yeah, I'm happy that shot worked out. But
okay.
Yeah, it's like those little things that are fun.
Back to when you were talking about keeping your older things on YouTube. First of all, what's your YouTube channel?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's Fade to White Films. I think I just had it as my name, and then Is there a link on your website to it? Or I know there's the actual clips are on your website that are posted on YouTube. All the clips are on the website. I have them on Facebook actually as well, and that's kind of the same thing. It's just, I think it's Fade and then the number 2 maybe White Films on Facebook, but then on YouTube I think it's just Fade to White Films, just like
I'll pull it up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so so back to you have your older things. So you were saying, and I know this from knowing you personally, yeah, you've always been into films, shooting home movies and stuff like that. That's kind of how you started, right? Shooting old. Yeah, you're laughing.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen those? Any of those?
I've seen some of them,
Oh, they're terrible.
Some of them are funny. Some of them are okay.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I guess...
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's a blast making those. Oh, yeah, so many good memories.
Were you always the orchestrator? Like, were you the director, the writer, or was it some of the other guys that you all kind of put in to come up with the concepts?
It's like, I would get really, really excited about doing them. And then my friends usually would not equal my excitement.
They would just be like, "Oh, okay, fine, we'll help you film it."
Yeah, and if I like wanted to do like another take or something, they would just not be into the idea at all.
Okay.
But most those early films, like the ones I did with my friend Devin and your friend Devin as well, those were not. Those were just fun to make. We were like, I don't know, like 11 or 12, making like these home movies.
Yeah.
Like these little skits.
The listeners want to know, are those on YouTube somewhere where they can come?
Oh, they're on YouTube, but they will never find them.
Purposely. You're not going to drop the link.
They are so buried. Yeah.
So they're not on Fade to White Films.
No. I should put them on there, though, and just lose any potential business.
The subscribers that are on there right now will all unsubscribe.
Yes. For sure.
So, yes, YouTube, I'm looking at it right now. Fade to White Films. Three different videos?
No, I think I got like...
Oh, sorry, I was on the homepage. Yeah, you got a number of different films on there.
Yeah.
Mostly wedding, not just weddings.
Yeah, I put some little fun commercial things that I did recently on there.
I mean,
as well.
You shot a commercial. Like, that's
not
pretty
like
cool.
well, yeah. I mean, it's a commercial.
It wasn't on TV.
No.
But still, it was an advertisement for a company.
Sure, yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Do you know where... Is it just for online use? Is it for a YouTube advertised like video, or is it going to be on like a Facebook ad? Do you know what it's for?
Oh yeah, no, they put them. Actually, they're all. I published them way after they had put them up, but they all went up on Facebook. I think the company's called Gopher on the Go or something.
Yeah.
If anybody's
sponsoring
interested.
the Grocery Gopher.
Yes, the Grocery Gopher.
And this thing's actually a sick idea. So if anybody is interested, look this thing up. This thing is genius.
It is pretty cool.
Do you want to describe what it is?
Sure. It's like a handle, and you have two like little hooks that come out of the bottom, and you can attach all your grocery bags to it. So you can carry like 8 bags at once.
Yeah,
instead
in
of
just one handle.
Yeah. So if you live in like an apartment building, you don't have to come down to the car a bunch of times to get your stuff. So.
But then not only that, I think in one of the videos she hooked the handle up to kind of like a chest strap, almost like how you'd have a messenger bag across your chest or something like that. And then she hooked it on that so her hands were free.
Yeah.
Like open the building or close the car door or whatever.
Totally. Yeah. That's super cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a cool ad. And yeah, you're shooting side-by-side video for that one. Was that hard to put together in post-production?
Oh man, there's so many issues with doing that I just like, okay, this will be easy because I'll just keep the camera in the same spot and then I'll shoot both.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the sun moved and you got to account for like shadows, differing shadows, and you have to make sure your settings are all on manual so it doesn't change when a different element comes into the stage. And yeah, it was more difficult than I thought, but it worked out.
I'll be honest, I thought that was on purpose because it almost looks like one is grayed out.
Oh no,
like
that part is.
Oh, that part is okay.
Yeah, for sure.
In the thumbnail, I thought that was just happened to be the lighting in the thumbnail. It's hard to tell by the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, no, I like desaturated the other one like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it. That's how you get those dollar bills coming in.
Yeah.
Again, I can't speak. Can't say dollar bills.
That's usually how I describe money in general. So that's good.
What gear do you use? I know you're talking about the A7 a little bit, and actually, first editing. What software to use to edit? That's for all the geeks out there that love talking about gear.
Ooh, okay, yeah. So do you want to know like right now what I'm editing with?
Sure, or whatever you've used and why you've changed.
Yeah, well,
what do you start with?
I started with a long time ago when I wasn't doing weddings. I did iMovie.
Right.
And iMovie was classic, and it was great.
Yeah. Hey, it started for some big-time directors started with it, and now they're millionaires.
I'm sure. Yeah, no kidding. And then I went into Vegas Pro. I think it was 15 or 16, which was okay. And then now I'm using Premiere, which is like pretty fantastic. Once you actually learn how to use it. And it's a daunting experience trying to learn how to use Premiere. But once you learn it, it's quite fun, and you can do lots of stuff with it.
Yeah, that is a pretty intimidating program.
Yeah, yeah.
I used it for a week and I gave up.
Oh, really?
Plus, the trial was only a week long, so.
So you gave up by default. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I kind of ran into a wall, and it was something like either go into this full head of steam and learn it, or not pay, because I'm already paying for Lightroom and Photoshop.
Oh, right.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
It's not where I could just get like that nice cheap deal. I had to either buy the app on its own, which is a whole another $20 or $25 extra a month,
right,
or something like that. So for something I would hardly ever use, I said, no, forget that.
How much do Lightroom, what was the other one you mentioned? Photoshop?
Well, I got the photographer's package, which I think you get both for, that's a good question. It's either 10 US a month or something.
Okay.
It's under $20 Canadian a month for the two, but it's the photographer's package.
Okay.
So I think, but if you want to just get one app through Adobe, I think it's $9.99 US.
Well,
but I already have two apps, so I can't get that deal. So I'd have to either go all apps, which is like $50 US a month, which I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Or I'd have to get just a one app extra, which I think is 20 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I know for me, for just Premiere, I think it's like 30 US a month.
Okay, then maybe everything I said is completely wrong.
No, but it might be different app to app. I don't really know.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might be right.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm using Premiere now. It's pretty awesome.
Okay, and I mean, there's so many different things you can do, because you can use those other programs.
After Effects.
After Effects, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Have you used that at all?
Oh, I want to so bad because it looks so cool. Did I tell you about what like they're coming out with in this update for After Effects?
I don't think so.
They showed this video. So it's a drone footage of a drone passing over a highway, and there's two cars passing each other on the highway. And in the video, they completely digitally removed one of the cars, and you can't even tell. And so it's like, you think about, if it's like a still image, it would be, it wouldn't be that difficult to remove something, but a drone moving overhead, two cars passing each other on the highway.
Yeah.
It's like, how would they, I don't understand the technology that they're using to do that.
Yeah. So it's like cloning out something like on an image.
Yeah.
But in video, frame by frame. That is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it's like terrible for an OCD person, because they could be like just spend hours removing people or things from their videos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks cool.
Well, yeah, I know After Effects can do some crazy stuff. When you see these guys on YouTube or whatever, and they're giving tutorials about how to do this and how to do that.
Oh, I know.
Like just Premiere and After Effects. That's a whole nother level that I'm just not destined for.
Do you edit your videos right now using, what do you use?
I used for a long time, I used Final Cut Pro.
Oh, that's great.
And then, except I don't have it anymore because I had an old copy of it, and then it wasn't, like, I didn't have the Apple ID for it anymore, so I couldn't update it.
Oh, okay.
And then when I updated my Mac to, to Mojave, which I have right now,
okay.
OS Mojave. One morning, I got this really nice alert saying when I went to go open it that it's not optimized and you can't use it with this software. You need to upgrade or update it.
Oh, wow.
Sign in with your Apple ID. And I'm thinking, that's going to be a problem. So at this point, I'm having a panic attack thinking, what am I going to do? Because I had, I think, 3 different videos on the go.
Yeah.
And you can't even open the program. So there's these guys on YouTube and stuff that they worked an end around. If you go into the the code of the program, through the app, I forget what it's called. I think it's on Windows. It's like the DOS menu or whatever. If you go in through the back, you can open it and still use it, but it's super complicated. I shouldn't say it's super complicated, but you got to open up a ton of windows and go into the program from the back door, kind of, to open it that way. Every single time you open the program.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That would be brutal.
So it's kind of a chore to do every single time. So I kind of I didn't finish, but I got the programs or the videos that I was working on to a point where I could just export them to a file, and then I can open up the file and whatever else that's when I signed up for Premiere.
Oh, okay, to finish your videos.
To finish the videos, even though I still haven't totally finished them, but I was in the middle of a multicam edit.
Yeah.
So I exported each cam from Final Cut instead of doing it together, because I always had problems with multicam in Final Cut. It would always glitch, and I'd always have to put them together manually. It would take forever.
Yeah, manual
I'd manually have to sync it up with audio, with my like zooming in max, looking at the 0.010 of a second or whatever to get the audio right with my mouse, and then you go too far, and then you got to go back, and then
I don't know which way.
I'm ready to throw the scotch glass in my hand at the wall because I'm so frustrated.
Are you always drinking scotch while you're editing?
You know what? When I was doing this, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's why. Maybe I was drinking too much scotch.
Right.
It was incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
So then I finally just exported each cam, threw it over to Premiere. And of course, Premiere syncs it on the first try, no problem, no crashing, nothing. And then I'm thinking I should have just done this 3 years earlier. I should have got into Premiere and just paid. This is why you pay for such a high quality program.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I would have gone back once that demo was done. I would have gone back to Final Cut, but Final Cut's $399.
Yeah, so
and I'm not paying $400 for something I don't need as often as someone like you.
Yeah, right. Well, that's always been the thing that really bugged me about Premiere is I don't like the fact that it's subscription based. I feel like personally, I would love to just pay $400.
So you can write it off. And that's it.
Yeah, but I just don't like having to like constantly pay. I don't know, year or month after month.
That's true.
That's kind of bugs me. But
so yeah, for you, it'd be better to pay it in one shot, and that's it. For someone like me who uses it sporadically, subscription almost is better.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm not gonna learn Final Cut. I feel already like I'm like already good with Premiere, so I don't want to totally abandon that and go get.
Oh no, yeah. If you're already half into Premiere, why would you leave? I mean, it's the best of the best.
I would say so, yeah. Especially for their coloring stuff is like off the charts good. So
yeah, and
I'm sure you see that with Lightroom too, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of the reason why I also went with Apple in the first place, is because it's slightly easier and slightly dumbed down than Premiere. It's just not as intimidating. It was more like the old programs that I had used in the past, whether it be I can't even remember. I don't know if it was Pinnacle on Windows or.
Oh yeah, I used Pinnacle too. Yeah.
Or Windows Movie Maker. It was just a lot more, I think, linear. It just seemed easier. It was more like the Mac experience, where it was just more, if your brain thinks you should be able to do this, you can do it. Versus Premiere is like typical Adobe and Windows, where everything is complicated. So that's why I'd rather go back to Mac. But now I'm using DaVinci Resolve because it's free and it's almost as good as Premiere.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're really liking DaVinci? Do you know how to use it?
I haven't used it that much, but from what all the reviews that I've read, and that's how I found it, was reviews on YouTube, is that it's extremely high quality, almost as good as Premiere, so probably better than Final Cut. The color coding, or not color coding, the color grading is just as good as Premiere, and you can use the same LUTs and the same presets as Premiere. So that's kind of nice. And it's free. For whatever reason, it's free. You can buy an advanced copy, but the free copy has a massive amount of features. And so these big time YouTubers and filmmakers that have made professional commercials and stuff were saying, if you need something, you should be using this, because you're not losing anything in using a free program.
Yeah. Well, you should get DaVinci to sponsor this podcast. That was very good. That was a very good sell right there.
You know what? I should. Hey, DaVinci. Hashtag DaVinci Resolve. Call me.
Hey DaVinci, yeah.
Email me. Everybody, hashtag Hey DaVinci and at Didur Designs on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, that actually sounds pretty awesome, especially if it's free.
Yeah.
I might look into that.
So I'm looking forward to using it more. And like I was telling you when I saw you at, it was actually a funeral a little while back, but when we were talking about this, and you were saying that I got to just knuckle down and get these little passion project videos done, and because I'm always putting it off and I got no time, and that's the same things I've been working on for like 2 years.
Okay.
But that's what's in DaVinci right now.
Are they a work in progress currently?
Yeah, they're not finished.
Oh, okay.
Shocker. Maybe this time next year they'll be close to being done.
Ooh, can't wait.
Yeah, anticipating. Well, if James Bond can have a 2-year-long anticipation, why can't I?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
I mean, for a little 2-minute advertisement for a city tourism.
I picture the hype being about the same for those. Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, why not? So anyway, that's coming soon to a Instagram post near you.
A Didur Designs post near you?
Yes, this would be under that.
Very nice.
If it ever actually gets done.
I think I actually remember the pre-Didur design days. What was your account called again?
Oh.
Or do you? I don't know if you want to say.
I can say it was. I should have never got rid of it, but I had originally back in 2011 when Instagram was about 6 or 7 months old.
Yeah.
iPhone only when Instagram was good before Android wrecked it.
Mm.
That's right. Everyone's taking offense. Good. It was better when it was iPhone.
That's what this
only.
podcast is about, stirring the pot.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was KDids. That was my...
KDids, right.
Yeah,
okay.
just KDids.
Right.
KDIDS.
Nice.
And then I had that for a year and a half, and then at the point I just kind of got tired of Instagram and all the garbage that was on it at the time.
Right, yeah.
Which, like I said in the first podcast, if I would have known what would be going on 6-7 years later, I would have never got rid of it because there was zero drama back then compared to now.
Oh.
But in just all the bots and the ads and there were no ads back then. There were no influencers trying to peddle things and whatever. So I got rid of it and I didn't have Instagram for 9 months and I got it back, but KDids was taken. Oh. Somehow somebody got it even though you weren't supposed to be able to reuse a username.
Yeah,
but somebody had it. I think
false imposter.
I think if you, some guy in the States somewhere, some loser who posted bad pictures of like his Nikes or something.
It's the worst offense right there.
Yeah. So they weren't even good pictures.
Yeah.
Although my pictures back then were not good. They were just iPhone 4 photos. Like nothing. Of like the Hugo Boss sign and Harry Rosen when I was bored working in the Boss shop. That's what it was.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was that then. So for whatever reason, I think if you waited long enough, you could recycle a name if you waited like 9 months or something.
Oh, okay.
So I had to add something. So I went KDid 17.
Oh.
And I had KDid 17 from probably, 2012, 2013 until I think 2015.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure 2015 is when I changed it over to Didur Designs, when I started posting like actual photography stuff on there.
Yeah. And I got to say, at the risk of like pumping your tires up here, it's like I feel like I've been following Didur Designs since pretty much the beginning, but like, man, your stuff is so good.
Oh, thanks.
It's so good. Like,
Thank
the
you.
one shot, where is that?
I appreciate
with
that.
the moons coming down.
Oh yeah,
like
that was a composite of the lunar eclipse we had in January.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a composite.
No, well, I would imagine it would have to be.
Yeah,
but still, that was like so many good shots. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, really good.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not anywhere near the best. There's still lots of things I have to learn how to do.
Everybody's
want to learn how to do.
Got tons of stuff to learn, though, for sure.
Yeah, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, let's stop pumping my tires because you're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Okay.
You should almost host your own podcast at this point. Maybe you should just become a co-host at this. Maybe you can be the guest host when I get sick or go to Hawaii or something.
Okay. When you go to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no plans to go to Hawaii.
I want to go to Hawaii, though. Oh, you don't?
Maybe we can do this from Hawaii.
Oh, that would be nice.
We could take the show on the road.
Wow.
And go to like the Royal Hawaiian on Waikiki Beach and just interview like Hawaiian photographers. I actually know one guy who's a photographer out in Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
I met him in BC last year.
That's pretty cool. Man, you probably get some awesome sunsets out there.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I told him I want to climb to, if I ever come out there again, I would love to do the Stairway to Heaven and hopefully not get arrested by the security guards because you got to kind of climb a fence to get on those old stairs. But
really?
We're not going to talk about it. Yeah, it's this old, have you ever seen that?
No.
The Stairway to Heaven is it's this stairway that you can climb that it follows a mountain peak.
Oh, wow.
So it's however, I'm going to Google it here. It's, it literally follows the peak of the mountain. And you can see like the H1 and the H2, or maybe it's the H3. I don't know what the interstates are there. As they go through the mountains and under the tunnel. Over Hawaii. It's some of the most amazing views I've ever seen.
Wow. That sounds really
Stairway to Heaven, Hawaii. And I'm going to botch this. So if anyone in Hawaii, or if anyone who's Polynesian, please don't be offended at this. I hope I'm saying it right. The haiku, or I'm just going to say haiku. It's HA'IKU, stairs. Also known as the Stairway to Heaven, or the Haiku Ladder, is a steep hiking trail on the island of Oahu, Hawaii. The total of 3,922 steps span along Oahu's Ko'alu mountain range. And just here's some pictures. Let's see.
Wow.
So I think it's from the 50s or 60s. It's probably from when they built all the bunkers up during the Cold War. It was probably to go from one bunker to the other or one lookout to the other.
Wow. That is so cool.
And I think it used to be open to the public, but now since it's kind of rickety and dangerous, they closed it 10 years or 20 years ago, so now only trespassers can get on there. But you can get arrested if you get caught, so I don't know if I want to get arrested in a foreign country.
No, it probably wouldn't be the best idea.
But, I mean, the views are incredible, so if anyone's Googling or on Instagram, look up the Stairway to Heaven in Hawaii.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of a thing with, like, I don't want to generalize, but photographers kind of like going to the places that maybe they're not supposed to be.
Oh, for sure.
And get those, like, incredible shots.
And then say, remember, everybody, please follow the rules, no trespassing, and then all that crap. And then, but meanwhile, everybody trespass to get those photos, but then it's like, don't do what I did. Follow the rules.
Never follow my example.
Yeah, don't follow my example.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea where we're going on this train of thought.
Sorry, I keep.
That's okay.
I keep totally changing your line of thought.
That's okay. We'll keep people on their toes if they're listening to this.
Yeah.
So we were talking about gear, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay. You wanted me to talk about the gear I use?
Right. So we were talking about gear. And then I brought up programs to edit. So you're using Premiere Pro.
Premiere, yeah.
What type of physical gear do you use? What's the camera? Are you using a Sony A7? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I have. So right now, I have two A7 IIIs, which is kind of, it's like
they're full frame.
They're both full frame. Yeah, they're kind of the entry level cameras to the Sony Alpha series. They have the R3, which is more for photography, and very soon we hope they're going to announce the A7S3, which is the more video centric Alpha series cameras, which are going to be kind of insane, I think. But the A7 IIIs are still it's almost like they're kind of built for wedding videography, just because the low light on them is out of this world good.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think I made an Instagram post about this very recently where it was just talking about it could be the most dark reception hall and you could see something that it would be almost lighter than what you'd be able to see with your own eye. Yeah. And so
that's pretty good.
And that's one of the biggest telltale signs of a camera is how well it does, I feel in low light, because a lot of cameras can't handle it. But,
for sure.
Yeah. And so I'm using two A7 IIIs right now. I have an A6400, which is a camera I use just for stationary. That's not a full frame camera. That's just a crop sensor lens.
Sorry, which one is that again?
The Sony A6400.
Okay.
It's still the same color science though, and it's still
So that's your third body that you use.
Yeah, during the ceremony, and then I use a fourth camcorder, which is just, it's I forget what it's called. It's the Sony FDR.
That's the first one you bought, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think I might sell it pretty soon, but yeah. Those are my camera setups, and then I have for audio, I have two lavalier mics that I will usually stick one on the officiant. I'll stick one on the bride. Not on the bride. Stick one on the groom. I don't think any bride wants a black lavalier mic on their white dress. Yeah. But so that really gives me really crisp audio when they're doing their vows, I do's, whatever. And then I also have a Zoom H5, which I plug into the soundboard. I don't use that all the time, but that's kind of backup audio that you can kind of get your audio from whatever
from the amplifier, from the mixer.
Correct.
Yeah. That's kind of how I've always done, because I don't have lav mics, even though I really want to get some, but I just have used an audio recorder and just plug that in.
And it's great backup because it can be very scary to not have audio, because audio is it's something that's so overlooked, I feel when it comes to quality in a video, because if your audio quality is good, people will not notice it, but if it's bad, they will 100% notice it.
Sure.
And it'll be instant, this is kind of an amateur video production, right?
Totally.
So audio is very important. Other than that, I've got my SiriUI monopod, which I love, and I didn't know it was possible to love a monopod as much as I do, but it is a fantastic piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
For the cinematic shots that I have, I got a Crane 2 right now, which is my gimbal. It's kind of an electronic. It has batteries in it. It'll stabilize your camera, allow you to do all kinds of different cinematic shots. You can go down low. You can do pans, whips, sweeps, kind of things with it. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. That's what I would love to get. That's the next toy one day, is a gimbal.
Yeah. I forget. I think I was talking with you know Gavin Arevko?
Yes.
I was talking. He's like he does
Gavin O Photos.
Gavin O Photos. Yes, I was talking to him the other day. And he was like, I have no reason to possibly buy this because I don't do video, but I want one so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got that, and then tripods, whatever. Yeah, I still don't have a drone. I would like to get a drone. I think that would be a cool piece of equipment to get.
You need to listen to the second episode of this podcast.
Oh, is it about drones?
Yeah, we talk about drones. I wouldn't buy one if I were you.
Really?
Yeah, listen to the pod. You'll know why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Some really hardcore drone laws now. That as of was it June 1st or something? Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I know you need a license to fly them like almost. Is it everywhere?
It's insane now. Like it's almost
Okay.
not even worth spending the money.
Oh.
Because you got to go to a whole bunch of days worth of schooling and it's just it's insanity.
Yeah.
So I gave up on the drone idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a real. I mean, I've seen a lot of wedding videos, a lot of wedding films at this point, and there's a real tendency to overuse your drone footage. I feel like because it's like. Suddenly I can see video from the sky, and so people feel like I'm going to put this into as many shots as possible, but it's so overdone.
Trendy. It's almost like it was a fad.
Yeah.
It was fad. It was a fad, and everybody was doing it, and then, so yeah, you don't want to date something by going heavy.
And going minimal on it, I think is going to be way more powerful anyway. It'll make the shots that you do have stand out much more, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what was the one piece, another piece of equipment that you have that I noticed when you were working that I really liked was maybe this was the monopod with that little base.
Yeah, that's the monopod.
That's the monopod?
It's basically self-standing, but it's awesome. Like I can leave it and I don't have any fear that it's going to be like knocked over.
See, I really like that because
Yeah.
tripods with 3 legs, especially when you need to get it up high, like that can be in the way.
Oh,
legs
yeah.
are always in the way, but when I saw this, it's like I need to get one of those.
Oh yeah, you can adjust it up and down super quickly. You can fit in spots that you would never be able to fit in with a tripod.
Mm-hmm. But it basically is a tripod because it's got the legs, 3 or 4 legs.
It pretty much is, yeah. Yeah, it's really close. But yeah, no, that's probably like my favorite piece of equipment for sure. But yeah, no, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I gotta look into one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my current setup at the moment.
And on your Instagram post, the last one where you talk about the A7 and the lighting, you talk about how it's also, you have your favorite lens at the moment, which is the Sigma 24 1.4.
Ooh, yeah, that's such a good lens.
Yeah.
It's really heavy. I noticed that on a wedding I did, not this past weekend, the weekend before that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know what Sigma's doing that's different.
Good glass.
It must be really good glass, but it's really like their lenses are super heavy compared to like, I don't know, like the G Master series that Sony puts out. But it's cool. Like what you can, I think it's hard to get a 24 millimeter lens has f-stop of 1.4.
Yeah.
Because just in general, they're going to be much higher than that. But
so if that's on one camera, what lens is on the other camera?
So what I generally like to do for setup, I like to have, when it's picture time anyway, if I have 2 people with me, myself, and someone else, I'll get somebody on like a tight 135.
Okay.
Like I think, Sigma also has an f1.8 135 prime, and then I will be on the 24, which is, so it kind of gives you the wide sweeping cinematic shots, and it'll give you like those tighter intimate like moments basically with the 135.
So you're using a 135 lens, 135 millimeter,
mm-hmm.
and the 24.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I'm doing pictures. That's kind of what I like to do. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So at a ceremony, or say for the first dance, one guy will be with the 24 and one will be with the 135. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, even during dances. Yeah, I was talking more about like couple footage. Like if you're like, you want any like video shots of them walking around or doing things that translate well to video. That's the same kind of setup I would use there as well. Because
I was thinking more. I was wondering when I was watching the video, and then also when I was watching you and Devin shoot the first dance. Say for the ceremony, because you had 4 cameras, 4 different angles.
Yeah.
Is it just where you only had 2 cameras, but you moved them around? Or did you have all 4 cameras going, counting that old camcorder? Like, what did you do?
For that ceremony,
what's your setup?
For that ceremony, yeah, I had one camera fixed on the speaker. That was the camcorder. And I didn't touch that the entire ceremony. I just let that one go. It was just a really tight shot. I framed them up beforehand. Mm-hmm. I had a wide-angle lens of the back as people walked down the aisle.
And was that on the this A64?
Yeah, because that one doesn't actually have image stabilization built into it, so I wouldn't stick that anywhere but a tripod, basically. And then I'm trying to think what I did. I was up front with I have a 28-75 Tamron 2.8, and so that's what I was using to shoot people as they come down the aisle. And then right after the ceremony, after the walk was done, I switched my lenses to 70-200 f4 Sony lens, and so that was getting me like the tight reaction shots, different shots of the speaker, different shots of your sister, all that kind of good stuff. So that's kind of what I would do.
So basically, your main rig is one of the A7s with usually the 24, but sometimes a zoom on there. Do you usually have two cameras always on the go, or sometimes you only have one? Like, say if you're at the photo location, or say if it's afterwards.
Yeah, it'll depend if I'm by myself. And if I'm by myself, I'll just carry two cameras on me, and I'll have the tight camera and I'll have a wider angle camera.
Okay.
So and then I'll just alternate between them as need be. But if I have somebody else, they're always going to be both rolling at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What's one of the hardest locations to date you've had to film in? Wedding? Like, was it a really dark church? Was it like outdoor wedding? Like, what's something that you found difficult, or where lighting was bad? Maybe it was a dark community hall for the dance.
Yeah. So the first I think it was one of the first weddings that I did. I was so nervous for it. This was a wedding that, it was the first one I was getting paid for, and the way that I had gotten in was just on Kijiji, and the guy contacted me a week out from before the wedding, and so I'm like, whoa. This is usually done months and months in advance, and so I'm super nervous. So I brought a friend of mine along with me just to help me.
Maybe it was good that was your first one and you didn't have 2 months to think about it.
Actually, that's true. Yeah, I would have just been dying a little bit inside every day leading up to it, but no, I was fine. And that wedding, it was at the Rustic Wedding Barn, and the reception hall, which is on the second floor, is really dark.
Okay. And
at that point, I only had one A7 III, so the lighting of that was totally fine. But my other camera was my camcorder. It was the FDR AX53, and so I filmed the speeches, and I gave my camcorder to my other guy, and he just shot the speeches. Whoever was giving the speech, his camcorder was on them at all times, whereas I was off getting reaction shots, getting different angles of the view or whatever. But when I got the footage back, it was like you could barely make out who was doing the speeches, what was going on. And it's like the difference in quality between the two were like night and day. It was like insane. And so, yeah, that was a bit of a scary moment. And that taught me a lot about making sure that the lighting is correct for whatever you're shooting, that you're shooting with a camera that can handle that. So I had to download this program. I think it was called Boris Continuum, and I removed some of the grain. You were kind of able to color correct it so it would look similar, but it still didn't end up obviously looking that great. But
that's kind of how, just me hearing that story makes me remember the first one that I helped somebody with. It wasn't the one I was talking about where the person asked me the night before. That was the first wedding where I did everything on my own with two different cameras. The first one I ever did anything with was actually, I think it would have been 2 years before that. It would have been 2011.
Okay.
So it was a really close friend of mine. Another friend of mine had been asked to just kind of help out and just shoot whatever they could get with a camcorder. So they were using a camcorder that we used at work, which was a high def, again, air quotes, HD high def camcorder.
Right.
But those camcorders are, at the time they were okay, but they were never okay in low light. They were maybe high def out in the sunlight. Probably.
Yeah, with the maximum amount of light possible.
Yeah, but if it clouds over, or it's definitely maybe 720. If it's at night...
If it clouds over, that's all it takes.
Yeah, if it's at night, the cameras on the lunar lander in 1969 were clearer than this piece of junk.
Okay.
So then, of course, in the... where the ceremony is, since it's nice and bright in there, it's fine. But then when it comes to speeches in the reception hall, it's very dark and grainy, and all of a sudden it's almost as if it's being shot in kind of half black and white because there's no light, so the camera is just shooting in black and white. It's almost like it's in log Like it's shooting in a log profile.
Right.
When this camcorder definitely was never built with a log profile.
No.
So then, but one of the other guys that was helping shoot had his Canon T2i, which was and I also have a Canon T2i, and I had mine there as well, but I think I was just shooting pictures just because it was a friend of mine getting married. So then I got to see later the HD camcorder compared to a DSLR, and the DSLR blew it away.
Yeah.
In the low light. Like, it was incredible, especially
sure.
for a crop sensor with a kit lens. It was night and day.
Yeah.
But then I got asked to edit that video. So then I'm trying to edit it a couple of years after the fact, because this was probably 2014, I think. I was editing it. It was how many years later? Because it had never been edited. I was just given all the raw files and say, here, put this together. So I got camcorder files from a Panasonic camcorder, which is in this weird format, and then I've got .movie files, which is what it should be, from the DSLR.
Oh, right, yeah.
So then there's these two different file formats that you got to try and work with in the same editing software, and then there's like glitches, and they look completely different. So needless to say, that one I had to say to my friend who got married, I said, this wasn't me shooting this, you know who was shooting it, but this is before anybody knew or any of us knew how any of this worked. Yeah. This is why one camera looks so much different than the other. So after that, both my friend who had one of those camcorders too, he said, man, forget this, I'm never shooting with this ever again, I'm using my DSLR.
Right, yeah.
And so that's why ever since then I was shooting with the DSLR, because the video looks so much better.
Oh yeah.
Because the DSLR is good, but it's all about the lens.
Yeah, I would say so. You can actually, you're talking about like the f-stop, basically.
But not even that, just even the quality of the lens. Like even a kit lens is a better lens and better glass than that tiny lens that's in the front of a camcorder.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
So then if you were to say, compare that to the kit lens, it's night and day, just the light they can bring in.
Yeah.
So, we were genuinely surprised. It was kind of, maybe we shouldn't have been surprised, but we didn't know anything back in 2011, 2012. Like, I barely knew how to take photos back then.
Yeah. iPhone 4 photos, right?
Yeah, well, I knew how to take photos, but it was just like for video, I didn't know anything.
Oh, yeah.
It was just learning way back then. So it's interesting. That's why I went to DSLR, and why when people were asking me, like I had this, when you asked me, when you were saying, what camera should I buy for the first one? I told you about all this.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
About how, like, there's nothing wrong with getting a camcorder, but if you better make sure it's a good camcorder. And you have to think about, no matter how good, like that lens is only as good as that lens is. Mm-hmm. You can't take the lens off and put a different type of f-stop on there, or that lens is never going to be as high quality as an SLR lens.
No, yeah, it wasn't even. I knew nothing about any of this, and so I was just like, oh, video. I'm going to get a camcorder because camcorders are meant for video.
They are.
Yes, but they're not meant for. It's like I forget what the right term is. Is it prosumer or consumer, or what's the one where it's just meant for like everyday, just
I think that'd be
around?
consumer.
Consumer,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For shooting little Johnny on the beach.
Yeah, like on my camcorder, you can't really manually adjust any of the settings. You can't adjust the exposure or really any of that. So, which
is kind of funny because now like just smartphones are almost better than camcorders, and you can even change more settings on a smartphone than you can on a camcorder.
I know it doesn't make sense to me. I can shoot like 4K 60 frames a second on my iPhone, and yet on my A7 III, it's 4K maximum 30 frames a second. So I don't really understand how that works, but
so you can't shoot slow-mo on there.
Oh, you'll just have to go down to 1080p.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you go down to 1080p, you can go like 240 or 120 or something. But
okay, I think that's probably one of those cases where Sony or Canon just doesn't want to make the perfect camera.
Yeah, because
we want to leave something out.
It's like if you have the perfect camera, it's like that is the perfect camera. You don't need to buy anything again.
Yeah, but I don't understand why companies don't want to do that. Because then everyone's going to buy it.
Well, everyone will buy it, but then everybody will stop buying it. And what are they going to do after that?
Yeah, but you can always keep upgrading things. It's just people will buy that instead of a Canon 5D Mark IV or whatever. Everyone will buy that.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, everybody will kind of switch over.
Yeah, it's almost because I know Canon and Sony, there's always usually one little thing that someone leaves off that people say, if only they put this, it would have been the perfect camera. But they left it off. Why did you leave it out? Whether it be a rotating flip screen or whatever it may be. Yeah. There's always usually one thing that they leave off. And they must do it on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
It's annoying.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, I think.
One other thing on your website, fadetowhitefilms.com, that I really like is your blog.
Oh, thank you.
You have some interesting questions that you talk about on there, such as music. What type of music can you use in a wedding video?
Yes, yeah, which is something I didn't know. Actually, if you watch my first video is, I'll just say, super illegal now.
Did you get any YouTube strikes?
I got like, the second I uploaded that video, 6 copyright claims popped up on the video. It's because I used like, I didn't know any of this stuff. I just like was like, I like this song, I'm gonna put it in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so is it still up there?
It's still up there. It's like it's like I'm legally allowed to have it up there. It can't be monetized. I think is basically the only. Not like I would.
Or if there is an ad in front of it, Dylan ain't getting none of that money.
No,
it's whoever the artist and the label is. They're getting that money.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, but that was something I learned very quickly right after I put that up, and since then, I've been licensing all the music. You kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a thing you have to explain a lot of the times to any couple that wants to book you because they don't quite understand it because, they'll have their favorite song that they want to include in the video.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you just kind of have to politely say, I can't do that.
Yep.
Unfortunately. But.
Well, yeah, and like the wedding that I was just rambling about for all eternity about the camcorder versus DSLR, the last part of that video I shot actually on my iPhone. I just put it into the wedding video because it's of the bride and her best friend dancing to Single Ladies by Beyonce.
Yeah.
So I can't put that, even though as much as cute as a moment that is, I can't really put that on YouTube because I get a strike.
Yeah. You needed to do your own cover of Single Ladies, I think, and put that in the video. Yeah.
Something like, maybe they would still strike it, I don't know. But yeah, definitely can't put
I think the couple would go on strike if you did that.
Yeah, I definitely can't put the audio of Beyonce's track on there. I mean, it's fine on the DVD that they have in their house.
Right.
But I can't put that on.
No, but even if they share that, then that's still going to come back on you, right? Like I remember reading this story. I think I mentioned it in my blog article, but it was a videographer. He was doing a wedding for a football player, like a famous football player. Don't remember his name.
Oh, it was Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the story.
I looked it up before this interview.
Yeah, and so they used the Coldplay song "Fix You," and the video went viral. And then all of a sudden, this guy's getting sued by like the label company that owns "Fix You" for like at least 6 figures, right? So it's a crazy. Yeah. Nobody wants to be in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least I think this video is sold and antiquated. I don't think they can share because it's only on a disc. So.
Yeah. No.
Have fun trying to upload that to your computer and then putting that on YouTube. Although for whatever reason, Instagram, you can put whatever music you want on Instagram posts. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Facebook, you can't.
Oh.
Even though they're owned by Facebook.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Because I did that about 3 years ago this summer. I put just like a 60-second clip, just some fun spoof thing. And it had a song on there. And Instagram, no problem. Facebook, it got, they blacked the audio out.
Really?
Because then I got a message saying that there was a copyright infringement. So I think it took me 3 times, because then again at the time I didn't know anything. I was just, I'll just delete it and upload it again.
must be a problem with Facebook.
Yeah, it's Facebook's the problem. Clearly I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
So I think I uploaded it the 3rd time, and I don't know if I honestly don't even know if it's up there because it's so old, but I don't think the audio ever worked on Facebook because it was an actual song.
Oh,
and it was a song from the 80s. It wasn't any like top 40, anything new.
Right.
But
just
Stairway
to Heaven. Yeah.
No, it was not Stairway to Heaven.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Eddie Grant romancing the stone.
Oh, wow.
That's what the song was.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I got striked, and I mean, it's not like YouTube where you can get into big trouble. It's just Facebook will either remove the video or they just mute the video, so you can still watch it, but there was no audio.
Oh, wow.
So I think I'm pretty sure I just deleted it. But that video is still on Instagram. And I mean, there's so many popular Instagrammers and influencers or video creators that use extremely popular top 40 songs and nothing happens. I don't know if just Instagram, it's because you can't monetize Instagram. You can only get a following off Instagram.
You can't monetize Instagram?
Not that I know of. I mean, you can get paid to post.
Okay, people will sponsor you and you talk about their thing.
But it's not like YouTube where you get paid on how many people look at your post.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's why.
Interesting.
But I think Facebook might be more like YouTube where you get paid versus how many people see the post. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, gotcha.
What program or what website do you use for your music?
Well, actually, there's a lot of really good options. It kind of depends on which one you want to go with. If you're doing a lot of weddings or just actually videos in general, if you're making a lot of videos that require music, I would say go with a subscription-based one. So the one I use is Soundstripe. I think it's like $150 Canadian a year,
Okay.
and then you can license as much as you want. Whereas if you use something like Audio Jungle or
Epidemic Sound or something?
yeah, something like that, you'll have to pay per song, per license, right? And that could be, they'll vary between songs, it'll vary between artists, I think. So, yeah, if you're doing a lot of videos, I would recommend a subscription base. So, Soundstripe.
And I know your blog said, well, some people, we want a top 40, like the hit of the day, but because it's recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
But then you talk about how that's also kind of a fad. It might not be popular in a couple of years versus the songs you use are a little bit more, they fit the moment, they fit the mood.
Yeah.
A little bit more apropos.
Well, when I think about that, I think about Gangnam Style. Because I saw that in my sister and brother-in-law's video recently. Everybody was like so excited to be doing Gangnam Style at the wedding.
Yeah.
And it's like, Gangnam Style? If you, 40 years from now, do you really think everybody's going to be like, oh,
that was 4 years ago and now nobody cares.
I know. It's like, thank gosh you had Gangnam Style in your video. This is a sweet moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
It's true.
It does actually kind of make it a little more special if it's not a hugely popular, Ed Sheeran song or something like that.
Yeah.
That's your wedding. Because it's just going to be for your video.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not going to be, not everybody's going to know it. Mm-hmm. So
I know my dad, I really liked it. My dad commented a few times, he said, I really like that song that Dylan used. Put in there. I don't know what it is, but I really like that.
Oh, I don't even know what it is.
And I was thinking to myself, I bet you it's probably like a rights-free one or something because it's not that it wasn't mainstream.
No, yeah, I don't remember what it was. I think it was called The Traveler, I think.
Yeah.
The song, yeah.
Okay.
If anybody's interested.
Whoever that's by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we talked about the music. You filmed the commercial, which we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever want to diversify and film other things, like whether it be branded content, like a commercial, or do you want to stick just with weddings?
Well, yeah, I'm of two minds about that. I never think it would be a bad idea to get a lot of experience doing different things, because I think that can only help you learn. I think that can only help you grow and really improve in kind of your craft. But I feel like I would prefer just to kind of specialize in weddings at the moment. I am doing some other corporate work right now for like a union, and that is fun, and it's kind of a very different experience than what I'm normally doing, but I really like doing wedding videos. Like they're just like a little bite of the thing that I love most, which is like film, right? So you get to kind of tell like this short story in 5 minutes or so, and it's awesome. So
cool. How do people find you? Do you have ads out there? Like, is that how this newest corporate one found you? Or is it just Google, fluke, word of mouth?
Well, the blog articles, the reason that I've gotten more bookings this year than I have in any of the previous 2 years since I started is because I've ranked like a lot higher on Google.
Because of having a blog?
Yeah, I would say, and I had just kind of heard this in passing, and I'll be spilling the secret now, but I feel like Google is more based on text, the way that their SEO works currently.
Okay.
Whereas something like Bing is more based on like media-based content. And so if you have a lot of text on your blog and you're writing about it and it's relevant and Google decides that it's useful and you're not just typing wedding videography 100 times in a row, they're going to decide that is relevant content to have, and so they'll improve your ranking. And so now I think I'm like 3 or 4 on the first page.
Yeah.
I think mostly due to my blog.
If you just type in wedding videographer, Winnipeg?
Yeah, you would have to have Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So wedding videography, Winnipeg, and you would find I'm kind of on the first page. And I think that's mainly just due to the blog, just due to the words and the text. So
that's amazing.
It's really interesting. I didn't know that's really how Google worked. I kind of just fluked out on that, but it was kind of cool.
Because if you're on page number 1 without having to pay for it, that's huge.
Well, I paid for it in the beginning. I did that whole Google Ads thing where they give you the free credit if you sign up for it. I think it's like $100, and I didn't get any leads from that because I feel like people just kind of skip right past the ads and they go right to your organic search result, right?
Right.
I don't know. Do you do that when you're like looking at something?
I click on an ad once in a blue moon if it's exactly what I want. Like if for whatever reason, like I was looking today and yesterday at couches.
Yeah.
And if it's exactly the specific type of modern type of style couch and it says exactly what I want in the ad, I'll click on it. Otherwise, I skip it.
Right. Yeah. And well, I'll also ask you this. Do you ever really go past the first page of Google if you're looking for something?
Sometimes, but I usually only go to the second or the third. I almost will never go past the third page.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. I feel like, and I think it's even harder for wedding photography than it is for videography. But if you're not on like, I was going to say the first page, but even for you, if you're not on that second or third page, people are never going to find you.
I think I was, last I looked, it was like 8th or 9th. I don't even know. It was buried back there. But I don't have a blog, and I never wanted to write one. Now maybe now I have to.
It's tough to write a blog.
I would think it would be.
Yeah. But I mean, all I did when I was writing a blog, when I was thinking about things to do, I just thought like, okay, I'll do one blog post a month. And I feel like I could probably sit down and write one a month.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that would be that unreasonable. But
so is that what you've been doing, just one a month, or have you been more?
Just one a month, yeah. I mean, I did like a 5-part series last month, so that was like one article every week. And that was way more than I usually do, which was, I decided I'm not going to do that again because that was far too stressful.
Too much.
Too much, yeah. But yeah, no, that's been kind of fun.
That's really interesting. I would have never thought that about blog, but I mean, it makes sense.
I didn't know it either, but that's just kind of my theory on it. I don't think Google will tell you. I don't know if you'll be able to find a really reliable source that's going to tell you exactly how Google uses their algorithm to decide who ranks, but that's just kind of what I feel like. I mean, I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah,
that would be considered unique. So I don't know.
Okay,
I'll be doing something.
When are you booking for right now? How far in advance?
Well, I'm doing. How long do I typically book in advance?
Yeah, like if someone calls you up and they say, like, will you do something 2-3 weeks from now for a wedding, or are you booking weddings for 6 months from now?
Ooh, that would depend. If it was 2 to 3 weeks from now, that would be.
Or a month, like just randomly.
Well, I mean, I would very much consider doing that. It would I would have to have the date free, and yeah, I would have to want to do it.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point,
so generally you're what, like a 3-4 to 6 months out?
I would say so. Yeah, there was. I mean, I booked a wedding probably a year ago that I'm shooting this coming weekend.
Okay.
And so that was, that can happen. I've even heard 2 years in advance, kind of.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but
it's kind of nice because then you can do the corporate stuff because corporate calls are usually within a couple weeks.
Right.
So that kind of leaves up moderate or stuff right now for corporate.
Yeah, and I'd say like the wedding season in Winnipeg is probably like 6 months, and there are some crazy people, I'll say, that like to get married in the winter.
Yeah,
which is great because you can do all kinds of cool things in the winter, but it just doesn't happen nearly as often as May, June, July kind of stuff. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if everybody's listening and he's a wedding videographer, his prices are going up for 2020 as well.
Yes.
So try and get in for 2019.
Trying to slip in there.
Well, you can get the videographer extraordinaire for cheap. Even though I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's cheaper than it will be.
I really like that title, extraordinaire. I think I'm going to just put that on my website.
You put it in air quotes. Or not air quotes. Put it in real quotes.
Do you think people would think I'm a little braggy if I just called myself the wedding videographer extraordinaire?
Just make that as the title that shows up on Google.
Oh, yeah.
Under the description for page 1, result number 3. Video wedding videographer extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire,
yeah. That's it. No other information. Just have nothing else on your website. Just this and the book button.
Yeah, the couple they would have to have a specific vision of what they want. They want an extraordinaire.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for coming in.
Man, thanks for having me.
We're going to finish with a couple quick questions.
Sure.
It's going to be the same questions as last week, but it's good you haven't listened to, or I shouldn't say last week, the last episode, because I thought of a couple questions that I wanted to add to this.
Okay.
But I either forgot to write them down or I lost the piece of paper I wrote them down, so I couldn't find them. So it's just going to be a couple quick random questions where you're going to say, give you 2 options, and you're going to say which one is your choice.
Okay, good. Multiple choice. I like it.
Pie or cake?
Pie.
Excellent. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing?
Oh, Mario Kart.
Oh, really?
I could see, you can't see it in his eyes, but there was so much disappointment Like the kind I got from my dad when I was a kid.
Right now, Devin Chuddy is just like, oh. Seriously?
I'm sure, yeah.
Movies or TV?
Movies. That's a good one. Yeah. I think I have to say TV.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
If you could only have access to one form of media for the rest of your life, will it be music, movies, or TV?
Wow. That is a tough one.
Yeah. Basically, if you're Tom Hanks and you're stuck on the island, but you can have a media player.
And I can play any kind of music on the island?
You can play any movie,
Dude,
any
cool
TV, or any music ever played, but only that one sort of medium.
Wow. On a desert island.
Or, here in Winnipeg, but the rest don't exist. You only get one.
Right. Okay, so in just quick question on this. If I pick something like movies, would that mean that there's no music in the movies?
Oh man. See, I never thought, okay, this is already taking longer than it should have. So I never thought about this through. I don't even know.
So then I feel like I might have to.
You know what? Okay, if you pick movies, the movies are movies that exist. So there's music in the movies.
Okay.
So yes, the music will be in the movies, but you can't then finish the movie and drive home while listening to the radio.
Right.
Because the radio doesn't exist.
Oh, okay. Okay. So having said all that, I'm not going to pick movies. I'm going to pick TV.
Really?
Yeah, pick TV.
So TV, if you could, would be the only one.
I think
so. You just have one, it would be TV.
Yeah.
Why? Are you really into CNN or watching sports, or what are you watching on TV?
I'm watching Chernobyl right now. Have you heard about that show?
I want to watch that.
I just watched the first episode. It's really good.
And is that on Netflix?
I'm watching it on Crave. I got like that free month.
Oh, yeah.
Crave, yeah.
Okay, I don't have Crave anymore, so I probably won't be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah, because it's HBO. That is an HBO show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely won't be able to watch that on Netflix. I don't have Crave anymore, so.
Oh, well.
And if anybody's listening to this outside of Canada, they're like, what the hell is Crave?
Yeah.
Crave is basically like poor man's Netflix in Canada, but it also has HBO and Showtime shows on, so I guess it's not true poor man's.
Right. Yeah, so regular man's.
Yeah, so it's got Canadian TV shows and then HBO and Showtime.
You can watch Corn of Gas, and then you can watch Chernobyl.
Yes.
Perfect.
And Game of Thrones.
Dylan
Paradis, thanks for coming in today.
Man, thanks for having me. That was really fun.
And thank you all for listening today. Just remember, whether it be in camera or in the editing process, photographers often strive for perfection. But while you're out getting the perfect shot, do you have the perfect hair? If you want to be a dapper man, go with Dapper Dan. Dapper Dan Hair Pomade. Find it at any local corner store. If you enjoyed listening to this, next time you're at that corner store, tell whomever is manning the counter to give us a listen. I would really appreciate it. Please give us a thumbs up and a follow and a subscribe and a rate and all that other fun stuff. Unless you're like me and you just can't be bothered, and then that's okay too. You'll find us on Instagram at The Third Rule. That's with the number 3, and on all podcast platforms and on YouTube too. Okay, thanks for listening to The Third Rule Podcast. See you next time.